everybody. How's everybody for dinner? Dinner good? Great. My name's Chuck Feaster, and I want to take a few minutes to talk to you about heroes, heroism, and my personal hero, my dad. So, let me real quick. Merriam-Webster. A hero is defined as a person who is admired for great or brave acts or fine qualities, or another name for a submarine sandwich. Well, a good hero sandwich is hard to pass up. We're going to go with the first definition. A person who is admired for great or brave acts or fine qualities. So let me tell you a little bit about my dad, Linwood Gene Feaster. Grew up in a small town in West Virginia, Kaiser, West Virginia, in the 50s and 60s. And he was the very definition of the man. Everybody loved him. He was the good grades kid, and he was a sports star. He lettered in 3 sports in high school: football, baseball, and wrestling. He played football. He was on, of course, this was Ironman football back then, so he was defense and offense. He lettered in track and basketball, and he was a wrestler. And my grandmother told me a one-time story about him. As a wrestler in high school, the opposing team coach may have let his player put his arm around my dad's neck a little too long and caused him to turn blue, which is something you're not supposed to do when you wrestle. This was one of the things that made him an amazing guy to me. And later on, when I was younger, we were living in Ranson in one of those great big old houses that had you guys might not remember them, the floor grates, where the furnace comes up from the floor and everything gets stuck in it. And I'm running around the house barefoot playing, and I found one of his toothpicks in the grate in my foot, and I got buried. He picked me up, wrapped me in a blanket, and using that superhuman athlete strength, carried me 4 blocks to the hospital, to the ER, so they could dig that toothpick out. My dad was my hero. He was also my scout leader growing up. I'm a little bit older than everybody else. I'm a product of the 70s and early 80s. So I scouted in the 70s and early 80s. And my dad was my scoutmaster. He was also scoutmaster to all my friends. And there was never a kid who went without his attention, his positivity, and his love in our troop. He cared for everybody. He reached out to the parents, made sure that they were taken care of. He took them on the weekends. Things that they didn't have, he would get for them. And he shared everything. Made me kind of jealous, but I got over it, because we were all friends. So my first camping trip with the troop, I was 12. And on this camping trip, we were going to have shish kebabs for dinner. So my dad and I had spent the whole week before working in the basement, making our own shish kebab sticks. We got them made, we're out camping, and I've got my dinner, and I've cooked it, and I've taken it off the stick, and I got it in my little pan, and I'm going back to where everybody's eating, and I'm running through the tent, and I didn't see the tent rope. Boop. And I fell over on the ground and spilled my dinner everywhere. I cried. Oh my God, I cried. And they laughed. And Dad saw it, and Dad came over and he picked up my dinner, gave me his, and he ate mine. That fell on the ground. That's my hero. That's my hero. They saw this, They loved it. He gave them that same treatment that he gave me. He shared it with everybody. I didn't like it he shared it with my sister, but I was always the one that stayed home at grades time because I didn't get the good grades. She got to go out with him to eat ice cream, and I had to stay home and do homework. Not very fun. But I'm still in college. I've survived because I had to stay home and do homework. That's a minor beef. So, as I've said, through the 80s, we scouted. And in the 80s, scouting changed their uniforms. You guys might not remember, but I remember the uniform used to be all green. So Boy Scouts reached out to a guy named Oscar de la Renta, who was, back then, an amazing designer, and he designed a new uniform. It was brown, it was green, I'm still not a fan of it. So I came home from a scout meeting one night, took my uniform and I put it on the little hanger, and I hung it on the floor next to my bed. Went out and I had a snack, watched a TV show, came back, went to bed to go to school the next morning. Went to sleep, and I woke up in the middle of the night, and I turned over. There's a guy standing beside my bed. I'm trying to pull the covers over my head because, you put your head under the covers and the pillow, everything's safe. Not this time. I could hear him standing beside me breathing. I had allergies. That might have been what I was hearing. But I looked and the guy's still standing there. He's still standing beside the bed. He's still in my room. So I start calling for my dad. 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 Turn my head out of the pillow so he can hear me. Dad. And he hears me. And I scream, Dad, there's a man in our room. He had fallen asleep in the front room that night. And I heard him. He jumped up off the couch. And we lived in a ranch-style house. But you guys know they're really long and stretched out. And there's a long hallway. Usually in those hallways, there's a runner rug. Something that covers the middle of the hallway. My mom had just bought a new one that week. And it didn't have any anchors for the floor. So my dad jumps up. He comes through the front room, thump, thump, thump. He hits the hallway, thump, thump, thump. The next thing I hear is swoosh. He slides down the hallway. And I hear him, his arm hits the wall. He slides into the room, turns the lights on. His hair's all wild, and he's looking around. And he sees the man standing in the room, which is the lamp with my uniform on it. I wasn't allowed to hang my uniform in my room up anymore after that. But that's my hero. And I hope someday I can be a hero like that to my kids. Guys, have a great evening. Thank you for your time.